Well, good evening, everybody. I hope you all are doing well. I'm sitting here in my porch garden and I am planting my fall garden. So I just have some lettuce and some beets and some green beans and carrots. I'm trying to get all the things that I want to can and preserve in the ground so that I get a good fall harvest of these types of things. I am gonna do Brussels sprouts, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower. I'm gonna seed start those. I'm gonna put those in my high tunnel. And then out in the main bed, I'm gonna do some more short-term yellow squash. I'm gonna do spinach, more lettuce, more beans, tons of beets. These are all things that I love to can and put up for long-term storage. The reason why I plant so many of these things is because I like to can. These are items that I am a little bit low on this year, so I am really putting in the extra work to make sure that I have a huge harvest. That way I can really put up food. My goal is always to have about a year's worth of food, but ideally I'd love to have about 2 years of food on my shelves at all times. I don't currently have that, so of course we're building that up. I use my my stores of goods that I put up throughout the year, and it does help with the grocery bill, that's for sure, but it also gives me peace of mind, and that's kind of something that I want to address in this video. So I think if you're watching the news right now, you're seeing what's happening across the globe, really, and this has been stuff that's been going on for the past, seems like a few years now. It seems like more and more corrupt and tyrannical governments are being upheavaled by the people that live in the countries. Right now we're seeing this in Venezuela. If you guys are listening, I don't watch, by the way, I don't watch mainstream news. I won't give them the time of day. So I really depend and fall back on independent journalism, because that's where I feel like I get the best, most unbiased information. The people that are really out there, that aren't reading off of scripts that are handed to them by their paid sponsors. And so if you're paying attention to what's happening in Venezuela, Venezuela has undergone huge transformation in the period of maybe 25 years. Venezuela used to be a rich country, not extremely rich, but they were definitely the richest country in South America, to my understanding, or at least the second richest. They had a huge economy. They were fantastic. And then they got in some new progressive leadership. And this new progressive leadership did a lot of things. They wanted equity for everybody. They wanted to protect their citizens, and they got everybody to turn in their guns. This sounds relatively familiar, yes? So, you know, just over the term of those 25 years, you know, they tried to work on diversity and equity and making sure that they could level the playing field. They didn't want anybody to be, you know, richer or poorer. They wanted just everybody to be equal across the board. There was just a lot of things that they did. The gun grab was a big one as well, because, you know, then you can't protect yourself, right? And throughout the years, they've become very communist. It's a very communist country down there. So recently there was an election, and the people's choice was basically squashed. They said, you know, the president, or dictator, if you will, said, no, you know what, I think I'm gonna stay in power. Well, as you can imagine, that didn't go over very well. But at least he was forthright in saying, I'm gonna stay in power, and he didn't really lie or deceive. I mean, I guess he probably did. I don't know all the details because I don't live in Venezuela. So if any of you live in Venezuela and you want to chime in here, that'd be great. My heart goes out to you folks, because I mean, you're really getting the short end of the stick. However, I'm watching you take your country back, and I'm extraordinarily proud of you. However, I mean, we don't want to see violence. We don't want to see these hard things to watch, but they're brave, and they realize the corruption, and they realize what has become of their country. And it's a bit late now in the game that it's come to this. You know, they've decided that these things have happened, and now they want to take their country back. So it's like desperate times call for desperate measures. If they had seen what was coming prior to all of this, then perhaps they could have stopped it, but that's just not the way that it went. So, all right, I'm back. So anyways, so Venezuela is on fire right now. They are, I mean, it's a lot. Half of the military has teamed up with the citizens, and half of the military is firing on citizens. I'm not really sure where they are in the stage of this right now. Yesterday when I was listening to people, they said that they thought maybe they would reach the head guy today. I'm not really sure what's going on. I haven't heard any updates on that today. It's kind of hard to find information because, of course, you know, mainstream media doesn't want to, they don't want to, you know, have these things get out. It goes against everything that they're, you know, pushing for. So what I want to really bring to the forefront, and I think a lot of people are talking about this now, is that this very thing could so easily happen in our country. The same things that happened there and all these other countries that have had similar occurrences over the past few years, those are happening here now. We're a little late to the game because obviously we have pushback and we say no, we see what's happening. But it does seem like through corruption, lies, money, these types of things are worming their way in, and some may argue have been worming their way in for a long time. There's a shift in this country, and I hate to say it, but it's in all of our best interest to prepare for the worst. And let me see if I can turn you guys around real quick. Do you guys see my little finch buddy? Look at him. He comes to hang out on my sunflowers every day, and this is actually the closest I've gotten. Hi, buddy. Aren't you so very pretty? That is a welcome distraction, isn't it? Anyway, it is in our best interest to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So what do I mean by that? When you watch these things go on and happen in these other countries, it has to really punch you in the gut, because these people are really standing up for themselves, albeit a little late in the game. Like, if they would have stood up for themselves earlier, it probably would have been much more beneficial. But that being said, it is going to great lengths to try to take their countries back. And there's violence, there's social unrest, there's riots, there's burning down things, there's just, it's hard to watch, it's sad to watch. If I'm gonna be honest with you, at this point in the game, it's almost, I almost don't have emotion to it. It seems like we've been seeing this so much. I mean, since 9/11, really anything that happens doesn't shock me anymore. And I feel like I watch these things. Like, I was at that Trump rally and I was right there. Somebody was shot and killed. 2 other people were shot. President Trump was shot. And I left there numb to it all. So we're watching this, and most of us, a lot of us, are somewhat numb. We're probably more numb than what we should be. It almost puts me in mind of medieval times, you know, when, you know, raiders and people could just show up and take out an entire town, and you know, and those people, of course, were terrified at the moment, but they kept living their lives right after it because it was normal for them. And I feel like, in a sense, that's where we are now. Like, you're terrified and you're horrified at the moment, but then you just keep living with no care to it because it's almost normal now. So that's really crazy, because you think that you've come so far, and yet you really haven't. You know, we're really living and doing the same things. But what's different now, as compared to back then in those medieval times, is the majority of people can't provide for themselves. They can't go out and plant a garden. They can't butcher a chicken. They can't preserve food. And it's maybe not because they don't want to, but maybe they live in an area where they can't, and you know, just maybe they're physically unable to. So of course those aren't a fault of those people, but we need to start considering, what does an existence look like when we're faced with these tumultuous times? And so for me, that looks like planting and planting and planting and spending late nights preserving food. My goal is always to have about 53 jars of tomato sauce. This year I'd like to have about 110 jars. That's almost, you know, 2 jars a week of tomato sauce. That's a lot of work. That doesn't count for everything else that I plan to put up and have been putting up. I recommend, you know, you buy your toilet paper, because we all saw what happened in 2020. Toilet paper was hard to come by. They were selling it on the marketplace on the Facebook for like 3 times what it was worth. Toilet paper, paper towels, laundry things that you need, you know, deodorant, toothpaste, body wash, all of these things. I strongly recommend people start considering putting back a few extra. I don't think you need to have 2 years worth, but I do think you need to put up a couple extra, because everything that's happening in Venezuela, and right now England is going through, the UK is going through some things on account of those poor little girls that were murdered. There's just unrest in so many countries. I mean, we could be waltzing into World War III. It's, any day is your best guess, you know. To give you peace of mind, put up a couple months worth of things that you use every day. At least a couple months. It will give you peace of mind if you know that you don't have to go someplace and buy something for a couple months. A couple months is easy to put up. A lot of people that are putting out these videos will tell you to have like a year's worth of things or 2 years worth of things, and that's all fine and good, but maybe you don't have room to keep those things. So in my opinion, put up what you can, because November's coming, guys. Tomorrow's August 1st. I think tomorrow's August 1st. Today's not August 1st, is it? No, tomorrow's August 1st. September, October, November. 3 months. And in 3 months, I am predicting, at least in some of the bigger cities, there will be unrest. I'm guessing. No matter which way it goes, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. President Trump ought to win. We know this. If he wins, what's the other side gonna do? And if he doesn't win, I mean, this is, so many of you put in the comments, and I love it, too big to rig. It is too big to rig. We know this. We know this. We go to the rallies. We feel that energy. We know when we talk to other people that there's so much love and unity and togetherness, and more people are pouring onto the team every single day. More people are waking up and they see the corruption. So it really is almost too big to rig, which means if it's rigged, what's going to happen? If that rally had gone another way and the unthinkable would happen, I mean, the unthinkable already did happen. Somebody lost their lives and 2 people were horribly injured. But had President Trump been taken away from us, what would have happened? We don't know. We can't predict. And of course, I'm not going to sit here and say, we would have done this, you know, because I am the one that's always saying we need to stay peaceful. However, desperate times call for desperate measures. And what would have happened? What would have happened? So these are things we need to think about. And I waited a couple days with the events in Venezuela to talk to you guys about it, because I wanted to see, you know, how this is going. I want to make sure I was seeing actual things. I don't want to report back falsely, but you know, you're gonna have people talking about the corruption and everything else. My whole viewpoint is this could so very easily happen here soon. 3 months. So that's something I want you guys to think about. I want you guys to really consider taking care of yourselves, looking out for yourselves, looking out for your family, whatever that looks like to you. Make sure that you don't have to go someplace for a couple months, because you have to think November is the election, and that's going to cause a period of craziness, I'm sure. And then January is the inauguration, so you're looking at a couple months of who knows what. Nobody can predict. But the way things are in this country right now, you can assume. And it's sad that it's come to that. It's sad that we are on a third world basis. But that's where we are. So I want you guys to do the best that you can to put away things that you might need, just so that you are safe and looked after. And if you don't have to go someplace, you don't have to go someplace. It's just the bottom line. It's in all of our best interests. We need to learn from what we're seeing, and we need to apply common sense and realize that that's not isolated to any other country. Like it could literally come here. So that's basically all I want to talk about today. There's a lot going on in the world. Man, every day is just crazier than the next, right? But we all just have to look after ourselves, you know, hope for peace. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. That's where we are. So, with that, I think you guys should try to go plant something in your garden if you can. If not, go see how you can stock up on some goodies and just keep it going. Look out for one another. It's the best we can do right now, guys. I hope that you guys are all doing good. Sorry, I had a phone call there. But yeah, I want you guys to just look out for yourselves. It's very important. We have to make it through all of these tumultuous times to the best of our ability, so we can just keep on trucking along. So with that, I hope you guys had a great day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.